2001 BMW 325i with a 2.5 liter engine, alternator replacement. I'm Brian Essick from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing. So we're going to disconnect the negative battery cable, and the way you do that is open your trunk. You're going to pull the mat up here and then pull this little plastic tray up. I also had to pull the floor panel up and just hook it up, use the little hook that it has, the hook it on the weather stripping here. Now once that's up there, you can pop this panel up and out. Now you can loosen up the 10mm bolt here and remove your negative battery cable. Okay, we're going to get started by removing this front air snorkel here, the air filter lid, and the box below. So to get the snorkel off, we're going to start by removing the clips here. You pop these little clips up here, here, and here. And then you just lift up and pull off the little grommet here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug my mass airflow sensor here. I'm going to loosen the hose clamp here and pop and follow the air box around and pop all the clips off. And take all the clips off and remove the top lid. So the next thing I'm going to do is on this wire loom here, it has a little rubber bracket attached to the bottom air box. You're just going to pull this off right here, like this, and just kind of tuck the wiring harness back. Now you're going to remove the 2 tins here, and after you get the 2 tins out, the whole box will lift straight up. And it's going to have a little snorkel here. It's going to come out with it too. So you're going to kind of rotate it out. So now we need to get the belt off, and normally what I would do is rack the vehicle up and get to the tensioner from the underside, take the lower shield off and get to it. It's actually easier, but at this time all my racks are tied up and I can't get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the fan and fan shroud out, and it's pretty simple if you have the tool. Okay, to get the fan blade and fan shroud out, what we're going to do is right here is we're going to take this little control module off, pull. So what you do is you pull towards the passenger side, lift up, and then you push towards the driver's side, and then you pop it out like that. And then you can unhook this electrical connector for the condenser fan. You don't have to unplug it, just pull it up out of the little bracket like that, set it aside. Now you're going to remove the torque bolt here and the little plastic screw here. The next, what I'm going to do is take my fan clutch tool, and this one here, it hooks around the bolts around the pulley on the water pump there. So this will hook on here like this, and then that'll hold the water pump pulley in place while you put the wrench on the fan clutch here, and you're going to turn the bolt, the fan clutch, clockwise. These have backwards threads on them, so to loosen it, you're going to go clockwise. And once you crack it free, then you could just spin it off by hand. And you got the clip out here and the torque bolt out here. So once you spin the fan clutch off like that, now you can just lift the fan shroud and the fan clutch out of the car like that. So now we have plenty of room to access the tensioner for the belt. So you're going to use a 17mm socket in your ratchet and just rotate it clockwise. And that'll pull the tension off. Now you can slip the belt off. Now that the belt's off, before we take the bolts out and actually remove the alternator, go ahead and squeeze the squeeze tab here for the electrical connector for the alternator. And then you're going to take the nut and wire off. That's the main power feed wire to the alternator. And you will make sure that battery cable is disconnected back there. And then you're going to pop this little snorkel boot off. It's just it just pops on and it just directs fresh air into the alternator to help keep it cool. So you're going to just pop that boot off. Now we need to get this idler pulley off, and we need to pop this cover off, and behind that's going to be our bolt. So you're going to pop the cover off like that, and you're going to remove the bolt. So once you get the bolt out, you're going to take the bolt and pulley assembly out like that. So now to get to the bottom bolt, it's right here underneath the this pulley here, tensioner pulley here. So what I want to do is I want to torque this out of my way. So I'm going to put my socket back on there, and I'm going to rotate it, and then this little pinhole right here, I'm going to rotate it so it lines up with this hole here, and then we're going to put a dowel, this metal pin through. You could use a drill bit or a punch or something like that, and what that'll do is that'll torque it out of the way and hold it out of our way So as you can see, I rotated it until the pins lined up, and then I put the little dowel pin through, and that's holding my tensioner out of the way so I can get to the bottom bolt here for the alternator. Go ahead and remove that bolt, and then the alternator should work its way out free out here, and then you lift it. After matching up our new alternator or replacement alternator, we're going to slide it back into place, and these little ears here are basically going to slide over this portion of the bracket. So it's going to slide in, and once you get it slid over and lined up, you're going to slide your bottom bolt through, and then once you bottom bolt through, you kind of swing the rotate it counterclockwise and swing it up until the top bolt lines up. And when you go to put this on, if this bottom bracket here is really tight, you can hit this little bushing here and drive it out towards the back with a little brass hammer, and that'll spread the gap and it'll make it easier to slide on. So now that the bottom bolt is on, I got it just finger tight, and now I went ahead and just go and reinstall the power supply, electrical connector, and you can go ahead and plug in the fresh air boot here. Go ahead and plug that back on while you still have it kind of loose and you have a little play to maneuver things around. So now it's time to reinstall the idler pulley and bolt, and it has this little notch right here, and it has to line up with the little notch that's right here. So when you put this together, you have to make sure it fits in the notch just like that before you tighten the bolt up. So when I tighten the bolts, I went ahead and tightened the top one first, making sure that little hash mark right here is lined up. Went and tightened that, and then I went ahead and tightened the bottom bolt of the alternator here. And now after that's done, I'm going to reroute my belt back on and put my belt on. So I printed out a diagram of how the belt routes just in case it popped off, and you guys needed that information. This information is courtesy of All Data. It's a trusted source of information we use here at the shop. So I went ahead and put my ratchet back on the little socket for the tensioner, cranked it over to clockwise, and then slipped the belt on, and then that little dowel pin that we slid in there to hold it in place, I went ahead and removed it and then released the tension on the drive belt. Now that's done, you can go ahead and pop the little dust cap back on the idler pulley here. So now we're going to reinstall our fan and fan shroud, and they had at the bottom of the fan shroud, they had these little hooks here, here, and here they have to hook into. At the bottom of the radiator here, the longer hook it'll hook onto that one, and the two shorter ones will hook into these little brackets here. So when you do it, you're going to make sure that the fan is tucked up against the radiator itself and goes in nice and smooth. And you're, like I said, you're going to put these in together at the same time, like this. Once the fan blade and fan clutch assembly and the fan shroud are all back into place, you can go ahead and start the fan clutch itself, and then remember it's reverse thread, so now you're going to go counterclockwise to tighten this. So I just start it by hand, a couple spins, and once you get it going, usually you could just spin the fan on by hand until it goes all the way up snug, like so. And once it's all the way up snug, then you're going to use your fan clutch tools, one to hold the water pump in place and one to tighten it up. So you're going to tighten clockwise or counterclockwise, I'm sorry. So you're going to tighten it counterclockwise. Once the fan clutch is tight, now you're going to take the power wire that goes to the condenser fan and route it back through like that, and plug it back into the place, and take the little module here, and you're going to push it towards the driver's side and down, and once it hooks on the back, then you rotate the other side down, pull towards it, and then push it back in until it locks into place like that. Now you can go ahead and put the torque screw here and put the clip back in here. Now it's time to go ahead and reinstall the lower airbox, and it has this little slot right here that has to line up with this little slot right here. So you're going to rotate with the nose in kind of like this first, and then rotate it down like that. And then once the slots are lined up like that, you can go ahead and start the two 10mm bolts and tighten those down. Put your air cleaner back in. We're just going to take our the top lid of our air cleaner here and catch the boot here, and like that, stab it, and then rotate it back into place, and then clip all the clips around the outer perimeter of the box in, and plug in our mass air. And the electrical connector route's actually underneath it and comes back from underneath. And also the little wire loom connector here, you're going to reattach that to the airbox below. Now you can go ahead and reconnect your negative battery cable. Tighten up the little clamp, little bolt here on the end of it. Don't over tighten these, they snap off pretty easily. Just snug them up, and then go ahead and put your tray in and your floor back down. And that'll complete the alternator installation on a 2001 BMW 325i with the M54 2.5 liter engine. I'm Brian Essick from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys very much for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe. Invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this, tools and products. Thank you again for watching.